Good day. Guns are expensive, no doubt about that. If you want a gun manufactured by a famous brand like Glock or Kimber or God help you H&K, expect to pay $500 to $1,000, or for the H&K, $700 to $1,500. Really, buying a gun can seem daunting at times because do you really want to spend $1,000 on a gun when you've got dozens of other more pressing concerns? Well, thankfully, you don't necessarily have to. You see, there is a company called High Point who manufactures extremely cheap, yet high-quality guns. How cheap, you may ask? Well, for a mere $175, I was able to buy this gun, a .45 caliber automatic. And let me tell you this, it is actually quite good. So now, let's take a closer look at it.
As you can see, right on this extremely plain cardboard box, the gun did indeed cost only a mere $175, and that is actually quite remarkable, seeing as how .45s are usually the most expensive of any caliber. And once we open up the box, we can see this veritable behemoth of a weapon. Now, .45s are supposed to be big, but this thing is something else entirely. Now, since this weapon was constructed to be inexpensive, it is fairly basic. It is a single action only and is blowback operated. And this means that the slide must be big and heavy. But really, I have never seen a slide quite like this. I mean, just look at this thing. It's a huge chunk of metal. It's just astounding how big this slide is. And there's one thing you might have noticed that is missing. There is no slide release. In order to release the slide after you've pulled it back, all you have to do is just like that. Now the safety may look rather awkward and cheap, but really it does flow rather smoothly. And you can easily toggle it on and off. And if you're ever in a rush, it's something that could easily be toggled off. Now, in addition to the main safety, the weapon also has a mag drop safety as well, which is both good and bad, I suppose. If your magazine somehow fell out and you needed to fire off the last round that was in the chamber, well, you'd be kind of out of luck. But then again, you could always just throw the gun at them and it'd probably do just about the same amount of damage. Now, the magazine itself only holds 9 rounds, and if you carry the weapon cocked and locked, you have a maximum of 10, and if you haven't done anything in 10 rounds, then either you need to run away, or learn to shoot better. Now, outside of this gargantuan slide, the rest of the gun is actually polymer. But it doesn't really feel flimsy or anything like that. It does feel really quite sturdy. Just how sturdy does this gun feel? Well, fully loaded, this weapon actually weighs 3.3 pounds. This thing is a behemoth. Just holding it like this is a bloody workout. Now, this weapon does have a mount for a laser sight, but apparently this mount is proprietary, meaning that you're going to have to buy the laser sight from High Point. But this leads us into yet another issue with the gun. You can't actually customize it in any real way. If you don't like the polymer grips, well, you're out of luck because they don't actually manufacture any others. But on the issue of looks, I really do like the overall design of this gun. It looks like something out of a cyberpunk movie, or like something out of Mass Effect. Really, I could picture using this to take out, Geth or collectors or something like that. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any Geth or collectors on hand. So, in order to actually see how well this thing shoots, we're just going to have to use standard paper. As you can see, this weapon is really quite accurate. The bloody gargantuan slide really does help reduce muzzle climb quite a bit, and it does give you some semblance of control. Also, the trigger pull is just excellent. It feels to be about 3.5 to 4 pounds. Now also, on the issue of the weapon's weight, when you're actually shooting it, it does not feel that heavy. In fact, you don't even notice the weight. Now there is one problem with the weapon that is kind of annoying, tearing it down and putting it back together. For example, in order to get the slide off, to actually get to any of the guts of the weapon, you have to pull it back here, push up the safety, and then drive out that pin. And then finally this thing comes off and you can actually get to it. While this might be somewhat counterintuitive, having to drive out a pin, it really is fairly easy to tear down and put back together. It's just annoying with that pin because, as with anything that small, trying to actually hammer it out and hammer it back in accurately will take some time.
Now I do wholeheartedly recommend this gun. If you want it as a home defense pistol, it will work perfectly because even if you miss, you can always just hit them over the head with it. Now the reason why I bought this gun was due to 3 reasons. 1, I did not have a .45 pistol. 2, it was really cheap. And 3, it just looks really cool. And if your reasons match mine, then I recommend buying the bloody thing. Now what I don't recommend doing is buying this for a carry pistol, because unless you live in, say, Alaska and you have to wear a big, heavy coat most of the year, there is no way you're going to conceal this comfortably at all. So, this is GeneralLotz, and I'm going to keep them in the 10 ring.